Hi, welcome back to WineMastery. We are going to taste a South African white wine.
Nice.
Well, you say that quite often. South African, probably quite often, I don't enjoy their wine, so I'm really looking forward to trying this one.
Well, I do, and I've also championed them on their value for money. Back, the way back when.
I must look at them more closely. And we're going to taste it now. So this wine is a Badenhorst Curator wine. Now, I think, I'm just going to, excuse me while I look, I think it's got 60% Chenin Blanc, 20% Chardonnay and 20% Viognier.
Okay, yep.
So that's a nice little mixture, isn't it?
That is. I like all these grapes.
Yeah. So, well, let's have a look at the colours.
Let us.
I've no idea what colour it should be with all those grapes. But,
No, it does look. It's got that rich golden colour there.
Yeah.
It really is. Oh, maybe a little bit of green, but not.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Name said that. Yeah.
Not in that light kind. Sometimes the lighter wines usually have that, but that's almost like I'd expect a Chardonnay to look like that. But there's only 20% Chardonnay in there.
It's not quite yellow enough for a Chardonnay. You know, that sort of like deeper yellow.
Yeah, I know that yellow.
Rather than a lemony yellow, if you know what I mean.
But it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. Okay, on the nose. Whoa, that says Alsace to me.
Ooh.
Oh, sort of Germany.
Yeah. I get it. But, ooh.
Well, she's really surprising given so much of it is Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 60% Chenin Blanc, but even so.
Mainly Chenin, Chardonnay and Viognier.
Yeah, 20% Chardonnay, 20% Viognier.
Yeah.
And yes.
60%
Yeah.
of the Chenin. Wow. Well, but nosing that's like, it's got, for me...
is that an expression?
Nosing it. I don't know. I'm having it. But yeah, it's got that, almost has the smell of honey, like a touch of honey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can almost... I'll say this now before we taste it, but smelling that, I've got that feeling that I know what that's going to taste like.
This is one of those wines that when I first smelled it, it was like, whoa, that's really fun. Now it's disappearing. The smell.
I'm getting that the honeyness in there.
Oh, it's back, yeah.
Like peachy. Oh, I can almost now I've said that in my own head. I can almost smell the fur of the peachy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those wines. It's quite unusual, a white wine, to want to dissect it just on the nose so much.
Yep. So which is got. I'm going to take it straight on in there, John.
Yeah, you're going for it.
Mm-hmm. Did not disappoint.
Well, I've actually kept that in my mouth for a long while, and that's really lovely. Quite rounded, isn't it?
It's got so much going on in there for me.
Yeah.
It is rounded. That's almost that. Maybe that gets that from the Chardonnay, that round kind of mouth, because there's a definite kind of mouth feel there. Excuse me. But I wouldn't associate that with Chardonnay. But then the Viognier and with the Chenin, I wouldn't associate that. But the Chardonnay and the Viognier, yes, perhaps. So maybe that's taken over that part of it. But it has got those apples in there. And the peach that I got from the nose, that's in the flavour.
Yeah. There's something at the end, isn't there?
It's lush. It's creamy. It's almost creamy. And then,
What was that technical term you used?
I don't know, but it's made me do a little dance. That John, come.
The end after the end.
So after the end, like I know that's not a term, but and obviously John's gonna want to pick me up on it. But after the end, I don't know any other way to describe it. But after the end, after I've thought, oh, that's it, that's done, and I'm talking to you, then I get like a spiciness in there as well. But it's like after the end, after the where I feel the end should be. It goes beyond. How's that? That's a better description.
You're just being a bit premature there because you're thinking it's the end when it's not. So you think it's all finished. Just when you thought it was all over,
Perhaps that's a better way to describe it.
Yeah, like a 1966 thing.
What's that?
Just when you think it's all over.
And then I stand corrected, John, and I'll let you have that. But no, but that, in all fairness, like you just said, the dissection of the nose, even the flavours there, you know, I'm looking to pick apart everything in there. What's that? What's there? What's lasting? What's not? What's coming back in? What was after the end? But no, that is I'm gonna describe that as a classy bit of wine. How much was this one?
Oh yeah, let's show you the label.
Okay.
Here is the bottle and the label, and we'll give that a chance to go away. And now here's the price.
Well,
$9.95.
Okay.
So it is under 10 by 5p, or 10 half pennies. It is under £10.
We're in 2026, John. It's
Old habits die hard.
I can tell. But no, I was going to say I'm right chuffed with that one, but yeah, I'm.
And one of the things that I'm noticing is that I'm so sort of satisfied with the taste that I'm not immediately going back to, because the taste is staying in my mouth and I'm still enjoying it. I don't feel the need to top up with another taste, and not that I don't want to. Not that it's, that is anywhere negative. It's just it is just a lovely
I get that.
wine.
It's not if anything can be described as, it's not a slugging wine. This definitely. It commands, before, but this is one of these wines that commands respect. You need to give this the respect it deserves, and it does deserve it because there's so much going on there. I mean, just again there, I had a little go on the nose. Like, oh, what is that again? I'm still discovering things about this wine, and less than £10, John. I know.
I'd be happy if you said less than 7.
I'm well aware, but no, that is good bit of wine.
I tell you what, I think this also. As I'm getting less in the glass, obviously, and I'm swirling around, it's actually warming up. I think I prefer it when it's slightly more chilled than it is now.
As it's warming up?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not. Let's have a little judge.
You've got too much in your glass. I've managed to warm my up. There's hardly any.
I can fix that, John.
Okay. Let me work out how you're going to do that.
Give me a minute. I've got this.
No, but again, what a fantastic... It's one of those wines that you could, we talk about sitting by a fire and sort of dissecting the wine. You could do it with this one.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's so unusual for a white.
Very interesting bit of wine, that one. Very, very interesting. That's something I would definitely go back and buy. And buy more of that.
I wonder who would like, in terms of people that, if they like Chardonnay, would they like this? If they like Sauvignon Blanc, would they like this?
I think Chardonnay, yes. I think the people who like Chardonnay would like that because it's got that roundedness, almost the oakiness, which you associate with a Chardonnay. That mouthfeel. Sauvignon, perhaps not, because the Sauvignon there's a definite style with Sauvignon. There's a sharpness there. There's a kind of acidity there. It's kind of like bang in your face. So nothing wrong with it for 1 minute. But this, I just think, I'll be doing people who drink Sauvignon an injustice by saying this is more refined, because it's not that. It's just a different style. If you liked a Sauvignon, you might like this, but it's a different style.
It hasn't got that acidity, has it? It hasn't
no
got
acidity,
that punch in terms of this.
That grapefruity kind of, that gets you there. It doesn't have that. Again, it's just more like the honeyed sweetness that comes through. It's a different style, but that's why we're doing what we do. And because they're all different, and we're going to enjoy every one of them. But that
absolutely.
for me stands out. Personally, that is something I would be like, have a go at that.
Okay, well, let's move on to pairing. And I'm thinking, well, this is going to be, for me, really difficult to... Have you got a cheese?
I've got, yeah.
Okay, well, you go, because there's even more time to...
Okay, no. Well, I'm going to go for... well, it's going to be a blue cheese, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, which blue cheese? Because a lot of people do worry about the matching of blue cheese with a white wine. It's usually with a red wine. But this, and this is only because it's just come to mind recently, a new blue cheese I've tried, which is Garstang Blue.
Oh.
Garstang Blue, yes. Which is I found it in a little cheese shop called the Cheese Hut in Cheese Store, over in Halifax Borough Market. And the gent behind that, I love trying new cheeses, of course. I love trying new foods and drinks. And he said, here, have a go at this. Something never considered before. Absolutely spot on. And I was thinking that the creaminess in there with a little bit of kind of a peppery edge about it, but without being too in your face with the blue or the saltiness or the metallic edge or anything. I would think that would be perfect.
Garstang.
Garstang.
That's in sort of Manchester area, is it? Is that an area?
Lancashire.
Lancashire.
Lancashire. That's not the accent. I don't know. I apologise in advance for that.
Okay, moving swiftly on to the food. As I said, I'm really, really struggling with this. The dish that I think I'm getting is a splayed chicken, grilled splayed chicken. So sort of like grilled, splayed out grilled. So it's got a little bit sort of the grill on the skin there, and which tends to dry it out a little bit. And I think this and that would go very well.
Okay, I'm getting that.
Yeah, yeah.
One day we're going to do that, John. Yeah.
What, spray a chicken?
No, we are going to like have a food and drink thing together.
Yeah,
I think we should do that.
Yeah, we will. Okay, guys. So we'll move on to scores.
Oh. I'm already.
Okay.
I'm already on this.
Are you
one.
okay? I think I have mine as well.
Okay. Again, this is a personal thing. I think that is a cracking bit of wine. It's got so much going on. For me, I'd return back to that if it's in a party and say, I'd be another glass of that one, or if I could, yeah. So my score for that is going to be a rather.
I'm going 89.
Ooh, 90.
Okay. Very close, yeah.
Yeah, again, I think it just deserved it. It's something that, it really stood out for me. Something that, when I go to bed this evening, I'll be thinking about that. In that kind of random, it's just something, it stands out. I think it deserves 90.
When I go to bed tonight, I won't be thinking about that.
And I'm good with that. You don't need to tell me what you'll be thinking about. I'm happy. I'll be having sweet dreams thinking about this beautiful wine.
Okay. Good. Okay, guys, we're going to flip now and we're going to go to a viewer's question. Okay, so time for a viewer's question. This question comes from Bob Andrews.
Okay.
And his question is, what wine goes best with a British Sunday roast?
It's Bob. It's difficult, isn't it? Because again, we have to look at different. What's your Sunday roast? So you're talking like a roast
pork,
beef or ham, pork,
chicken,
or chicken, yeah. So I mean, we could go through it. So like, all right, start with the chicken, the lighter dish. I would go. Personally, I'd like a Chardonnay, but a lighter Chardonnay, unoaked Chardonnay. Pork, you could again, and with pork, you could go Chardonnay or unoaked Chardonnay.
Pinot Noir.
Oh, yes, or Pinot Noir. Good call, John, good call. Then when we get into the beef, the bigger, stronger meats, then you're looking at, I would say, again, do what you like, but I would recommend red wine with that, so something like a Malbec or a big Cabernet Sauvignon. Or, again, I love Rioja, so for me, a slab of beef with a Rioja would be just delicious, so, yeah.
Excellent. Well, we hope that answers your question, Bob, and hope it's useful to you guys too. If you have any questions, then please let us know, and we will try to answer them for you. Until then, we have to say until our next episode, when we hope to be tasting another fabulous wine, chin chin.
Chin chin.